Good morning, everyone. So, starting this week with an uh, fact about you know uh, about our DNA, which is important to learn because we have, especially in India, we have seen a wave of DNA testing companies, microbial DNA testing companies, human DNA testing companies, right? And we have been blaming our genes for the state of chronic disease what we have right now. But you know if you go back and understand uh so our body has around 25,000 genes we get from our parents when we are born, right? But our microbes which start populating our various parts of body since even before we are born, from our mother's womb when we pass through a birth canal, right? And they express around 20 million genes, right? So essentially, if you see our genetic profile, we are only 1% human being, right? But our genes, which are contained in our DNA, is a static blueprint and does not change over life, right? So whatever you're eating, whether you're taking medication, whether you are not sleeping well, or you have a chronic disease, your DNA remains the same, So essentially, if you when you are healthy and when you are sick, your DNA would be same, but something changes in between, right? Which makes you develop a chronic disease, right? So what is this mechanism, right? So what matters is how those genes are being expressed for the human or the microbial genes, right? So essentially, if you look at it, in simple words, your genes is an instruction manual, right? But what exactly, suppose if you want to go from point A to point B, right? There are numerous ways to go, right? They are the instruction manual will tell you, okay, there are A, B, C, Z ways to go, but exactly what way you will go is uh, entirely your choice. What you choose, how you want to go to your office, how you want to go to a grocery store or a park, right? Similar thing, it all depends upon which genes are being used, right? It's actually which genes are being transcribed. So it's all about which genes are being turned on. When a gene is being turned on, right, it converts into an RNA molecule, right, which actually transform the gene sequence into, a protein. And protein is something which perform various biological functions, whether it is digesting food, whether it is regulating blood sugar level, your blood pressure levels, producing neurotransmitters, regulating your insulin response, keeping you away from pathogens and a lot of these things. So consider this, if you have, you know, uh, if you feel your energy is exhausted, so, uh, eh, genes expression changes. So genes encode for a protein that tells, that you need to take rest. It's the genes expression that codes for protein that tells you that you need to take rest is increased, right? So it's all about genes expression. Similarly, when we talk of chronic disease, right? So you may have an FTO gene which says that you have a potential to develop obesity, but it doesn't mean you will develop obesity, right? So it's all about the expression. So there's some trigger point that changes the expression of the genes, right? And that trigger point is actually your microbiome, right? So essentially consider this, your if you have an APOE4 gene, which is actually a gene for Alzheimer's, you can't say you will have Alzheimer's. Your genes would not say, okay, I forgot the wipe of the memory, so let me do it now, right? So your genes would not, wait for 50, 60, 70 years for wipe of the memory, right? So essentially, what matters is the gene's expression. So this gene may be overexpressed, right? So this is again done by certain microbiome. Again, your body, your immune cells does not know what microbe is. They don't understand names, so they cannot tell you, oh, E. coli, I know you, right? So it's all about, you know, biochemical signals, and metabolites being released by these microbiome, which actually binds to a lot of receptors and which alters, which leads to production of various pro-inflammatory molecules which alters our gene's expression, right? So it's so if there's certain bacteria which actually makes your APOE4 overexpressed, then you will develop Alzheimer's or you won't, right? So genes can be linked to your uh, rare genetic disorders or ancestry, right? But it has nothing to do with your chronic diseases, right? And second thing, when it comes to microbiome, so we've seen in India over last 3 4 years, we've seen a number of microbiome companies coming into the market here, right? And almost everyone except Australia, almost everyone is focusing on microbial DNA, which microbe is there. It does not matter which genes, does not matter which microbe is there, does not matter. What matters is what functions these microbes are performing, right? So if two people have diabetes, they would have entirely different set of organisms, but their microbes would be releasing the same metabolite which would be causing type 2 diabetes, right? So, so essentially, it is not about which microbes are there, but what genes are being expressed by your microbiome, right? And what functions are they performing? What proteins are they genes encoding, right? And which is triggering a lot of functions. So what we really need to look at the expression of the genes, right? We come to microbiome. So when your gut oral microbiome is unhealthy, probably the RNA of these or what we call the genes of these microbes are overexpressed, which encode for protein, which makes you fatigue, which makes you gain weight, which make you feel depressed, right? So essentially, these are the trigger points, right? So your human genes expression would change, but the trigger point is always your microbiome, the expression of genes in the microbiome, right? So this is really, really important. Your genetic test is not going to help you solve your chronic health issues. What matters is genes expression. Your DNA is static. It will not change for life. It will remain the same, except in case of certain rare genetic disorders, right? So do not fall for such obnoxious claims. Yet go for a genetic testing or a DNA testing, right? All what matters is how those genes are being expressed, right? And that's what we do. We focus on the genes expression, microbial gene expression, not on the microbial DNA. Right? That's for today. Have a great day. Thank you. Thank you very much.